The hook and the massive catch. Have you ever wondered what it would take to spend nearly a year in the wilderness, completely off-grid, just to prep an absolute mountain of food? Well, meet Phuong. Over the course of 266 days, she took on one of the most insane primitive cooking projects you will ever see. We're talking catching wild fish, building a massive DIY smoker from scratch, and deep-frying dozens of whole birds in a wok the size of a car tire. Stick around until the very end, because the sheer scale of the food she takes to the local market is going to blow your mind and make you seriously hungry. This epic 266-day journey starts in the mud, literally. Armed with nothing but a giant bamboo net and bare feet, she's setting a trap in the shallow, muddy banks of a receding river. This isn't just for a quick dinner. Watch as she hauls that massive net out of the water. Boom! It is absolutely loaded with huge, thrashing carp. She immediately takes her haul to a fresh mountain spring to process them, scaling, cleaning, and tossing them into a giant bowl. But how do you preserve a catch this massive without a refrigerator? You build one. Watch as she chops down fresh bamboo, splitting it perfectly to create a massive drying rack. She marinates the fish in a bright yellow turmeric and salt rub, lays them out over the racks, and starts a slow, smoky fire. That thick wood smoke is going to turn these fresh fish into golden, flavor-packed smoked jerky. But guys, this is just the appetizer. Now it's time to level up. Phuong heads into town, but not to sell. She's here to buy. Look at the absolute unit of a pork haul she is throwing into her basket. She's buying hundreds of pounds of raw, thick-cut pork belly. The basket on her back is literally overflowing. Back at her forest camp, the real heavy lifting begins. Using just a heavy cleaver, she slices these massive slabs of pork into long strips. The arm strength required to process this much meat by hand is unreal. Next comes the marinade, mountains of coarse salt and freshly chopped shallots. She violently rubs the mixture deep into the fat and meat, making sure every single inch is covered. But here's the crazy part. Where do you smoke hundreds of pounds of meat in the middle of the woods? You build a smokehouse from scratch. She hauls in heavy concrete bricks, stacking them up to create a massive makeshift oven. She bridges the top with thick bamboo poles. And now, the most satisfying part of the video. Watch as she hangs strip after strip of that seasoned pork belly. She lights a massive hardwood fire underneath and traps the smoke using giant banana leaves. For days, the fat slowly renders, dripping into the fire and creating this incredible, thick smoke. What started as raw pork shrinks, darkens, and transforms into the most gorgeous, deep red smoked bacon you've ever laid eyes on. If you thought the smoked pork was crazy, just wait until you see the main course. Phuong is now preparing dozens of whole chickens and ducks, but she's not chopping them up. She carefully tucks their wings and legs, pinning them perfectly with bamboo skewers so they hold their shape. And then she pulls out the big guns. Look at the size of this cast iron wok. It's practically a satellite dish. She balances it over a roaring open campfire and starts pouring in the oil. Not a cup, not a bottle. She is pouring gallons of cooking oil into this wok until it's a bubbling, molten pool. When that oil hits the perfect frying temperature, it's showtime. Sizzle. She drops the massive whole bird straight into the deep fryer. The sound of that bubbling oil is pure wilderness ASMR. Using a long bamboo pole to protect herself from the intense heat, she flips these giant birds. The deep frying process blisters the skin, turning it into a crunchy golden brown armor. When she pulls them out, the oil drips off, revealing perfectly cooked, incredibly crispy whole fried chicken and duck. To lock in the heat and juices, she immediately wraps each giant bird tightly in aluminum foil. The sheer volume of food sitting on her table right now is staggering. You can't have a feast this epic without the perfect side dish. Phuong is making a traditional specialty, kham lam or sticky bamboo rice, but she's giving it a crazy twist. She takes a gok fruit, this spiky exotic orange fruit, and scoops out the blood red inside. She massages this vibrant red paste directly into pure white sticky rice, instantly dyeing it a bright, fiery red. She stuffs this red rice into freshly hollowed bamboo tubes, caps them with leaves, and lines them up directly next to the blazing campfire. The ambient heat slowly steams the rice inside the green bamboo. When she peels back the charred outer layer of the bamboo, what's left is this perfectly shaped, sweet, sticky red rice cylinder, infused with the flavor of the campfire. It looks absolutely incredible. Finally, day 266 is coming to a close. It is time to pack up. She neatly bundles the blackened smoked fish. She unhooks the beautiful cured smoked pork and stuffs it into heavy burlap sacks. She piles the silver-wrapped fried ducks high into her woven baskets. Almost a year of back-breaking labor has transformed raw ingredients into a high-value, mouth-watering product. With a basket that looks like it weighs 100 pounds strapped to her back and carrying trays in her hands, she begins the long trek. She hikes through the misty, dense forest and crosses a sketchy iron suspension bridge over a rushing river, making her way back to civilization. She arrives at the bustling village market. It's a rainy day, but that doesn't stop the hustle. She sets up her humble stall, hanging the thick slabs of smoked pork, lining up the crispy fish, and unwrapping those golden fried ducks to tempt the crowds. The red bamboo rice sits front and center. It doesn't take long for the locals to notice. The smell alone must be insane. A crowd forms, pointing at the massive slabs of pork and buying up the fried chicken. You can see the pure relief and pride on her face as she hands over the food and collects the cash. Every single piece of food she spent 266 days preparing